to be able to take to the track here. 29 odd cars ready to work their way around the bruising bumps of Sebring International Raceway. 17 corners, many long straightaways, plenty of overtaking opportunities. This is going to be a race to watch, rest assured. DJ Clark up here in the commentary booth alongside Kyle Heyer, and with the history of a place like this, it's hard not to be inspired when you see cars out on the circuit, Kyle, but it's going to be fun.
7 decades of history here at Sebring International Raceway. 17 corners, as you mentioned, but it's seen a lot of variations over the years. Originally run back in 1950. 8 different variations to land on this current layout. Back in the 1960s, when this track was just coming to be, that was the launch of Toyota's first sports car, the 2000 GT. The headlight covers had an oblong shape. That's the same shape that's on the side of the Toyota GR86 Cup car where the fuel filler cap is. It's an excellent kind of a throwback. I've been told that it's actually coincidental, DJ, but I'd like to think it's not. Just such a cool feature, just one of many on this car.
One of many on these cars. And if you're joining us for the first time on these broadcasts, we are running a spec series here. 29 Toyota GR86 Cup cars ready to take to the track, ready to go out pretty much as factory spec as you can imagine. There are just a couple of little changes for safety, a couple of little changes for compatibility, as it were, for these drivers, Kyle, but it's really produced one heck of a series thus far.
It really has. These cars have stock engines, but the only other changes that you're really going to see, the brakes, the dampers, a little bit of aero, and of course that set of 6-speed sequential transmission. It all makes a very reliable race car, and that's good news because this racetrack, this is like a white-knuckle fight in the parking lot with this racetrack. You have to race the racetrack. So many bumps, so many bruises. This track has weathered over time, and the concrete several feet thick has never been repaved since its construction over 70 years ago. So this is as much a battle with the racetrack as it is with the competitors.
Yeah, it very much is, but rest assured, we're going to see some good battles with these competitors as well if the previous seasons are anything to go by here. Now, there is a little bit of intrigue, let's say, going its way through the field. Some of the names that we've sort of circled as drivers to watch out for, the likes of Gresham Wagner, Lucas Weisenberg, Spike Kohlbecker, all winners over the course of this year. They're mired a little farther down in the field, 4th, 10th, 12th, but it's Tyler Gonzalez who has been the dominant force of this series. Gonzalez up at the front as we take a look at the number 18 machine there on your screen right now. One of the new entries here into the series, getting ready to go. That steely determination of a driver. And the other thing that we haven't talked about, we spent a lot of time talking about this track, Kyle. We haven't talked about the heat. It is, it's toasty here in Central Florida.
It is a hot racetrack. That's another consideration these drivers will have to contend with. The differences in surface temperature from the concrete to the asphalt. There's about 3 miles of asphalt here and just under a mile of concrete, but there's a lot of transitions between the two surfaces that are of consideration. And you mentioned the number 18 of Jordan Rick Segrini, only his second round here in Toyota GR Cup North America. Familiar with him from the sim racing side. He runs the Full Send Sims esports series over on the sim side and got to call some races in the virtual world. Really cool to see him in row number 2 for the start of this, and what a phenomenal qualifying effort he had alongside Corey Heim in the number 24 Nitro Motorsports car. Another maybe not surprising name to see up in the mix, but another new name in the mix in that top 10.
Yeah, very much so. As we continue to take our look through the field here, there is Gresham Wagner in that number 5 Tech Sport racing machine. He is going to be one to keep an eye on. An aggressive driver, a courteous driver, let's be very clear. He's not necessarily putting anybody out of the way or anything like that, but if there is an opportunity for a pass, Gresham will go for it. And so always having Gresham start a little bit farther back in the field, that always makes for an interesting race and for some good action out on the track.
Well, when the season started, we circled Tyler Gonzalez and Gresham Wagner as the championship favorites. This weekend, Tyler Gonzalez could lock up the championship with 2 really strong races. Gresham Wagner, mathematically still in the hunt, but he's a long ways back. He's a smart guy. He knows that it's probably out of the realm of possibility for him to win it as far as the championship goes, but there's 4 races left, actually 5 with a makeup race at Indy, and those are races that Gresham Wagner wants to win. If I'm Tyler Gonzalez, I'm more afraid of Gresham now than I was because he's got nothing to lose. He's just going for race wins at this point.
Yeah, he's going for race wins, so he'll be one to watch out for. Another driver that I've had circled here, been able to pick up a podium or 2 over the year, that's Justin Piscatell that we watch right now. The Cumbie McAleer racing driver with his lucky duck there on this, the dashboard of the car. Always love to see those little knickknacks from the drivers. He is one that has been very, very quick, very, very fun to watch try to work on through. And there you see those custom-made Continental tires that are given out by the series here, obviously, that are used. Massive, massive thank you to Continental for sponsoring the series as they are able to come in and be our sole tire supplier for the GR Cup series. There is Lucas Weisenberg, another one of our race winners over the course of the year. He starts back in 10th place right now. And then it's the 55, Spike Kohlbecker. Spike, another race winner here. And Spike going to be looking to move up forward. He is really the one that this kind of all hinges on in terms of Tyler Gonzalez clenching the championship. If he has a rough race here today, Tyler could theoretically clench. It'll be a little bit tight, but I've got a sneaking suspicion that Spike's going to be able to move his way through the field.
Yeah, I think so as well. As we roll off pit lane, we're going to also note the 73 of Aiden Yoder has a new partner on board, Segra, some new colors for the number 73 Precision Racing LA car. Lots of new liveries and things also late in the season. That's great. That tells us that this series, the motorsports in general, are moving their way upward as we make our way through the season, DJ. We're hearing that a couple of cars were late to the grid, and they're going to be moved towards the tail of the field for the start of this race.
Yeah, and it looks like here that is going to be Will Rogers and Amadeo Queros. We are told that they were late getting to the pre-grid, so they are going to be moved to the back of the field. But we're going to go ahead and work our way through the grid here itself. And as we said, Tyler Gonzalez will be starting in pole position. Will Rogers was to be flanking him, but as a result of that penalty, he will be at the back of the grid. Jordan Rick Segrini lines up in P3 with Gresham Wagner, the number 5 machine, in P4. That's a driver to circle. Keep an eye on him. Corey Heim lines up in 5th place. Only as more recent races here for Corey. He's having a great couple of debuts. And then Drake Kemper lines up in P6 in the number 99 machine. Moving on to P7, that'll be Austin Dodge and Justin Piscatell, a driver that we highlighted a little bit earlier on. He will line up in P8. To round out your top 10, it is our highest finishing female award winner from every race, bar one this year, Mia Lovell. Lucas Weisenberg will start to her outside.
And moving on back to row number 6. In 11th, it's Paul Bocuse in the number 71. Spike Kohlbecker looks to return to victory lane in the number 55, starting from 12th. Jackson Bell rolls off 13th in the number 2 car. And Aiden Yoder in the new colors, and with some struggles in practice, looks to move forward from 14th in the 73. Will Robusto starts 15th in the number 8 car. And Tyler Wettingel 16th in the number 80. Behind them in row number 9, it's Adam Eisman in the number 69. He starts 17th place. Michael Garcia, 18th in the number 7 car. In 19th place, Stephen Clemens in BSI Racing. Great story on that car this weekend. We'll get to that later. Starts in 19th alongside Kanan O'Connell in 20th in the number 98.
Moving on to row 11, it'll be Mark Pombo in the number 10 machine, flanked by Derek Jones in the number 44. Moving back to row 12, Tommy McCarthy for Tommy McCarthy Racing will line up in 23rd, and Joey Da Silva will be to his outside in the number 67 Smooch Racing machine. Tony Breidinger lines up in 25th with Lavaretsky for company in row 13. Then moving on back to 27th, it's Spencer Schmidt, and Farron Davis will be to their outside in P28. Row 15 will consist of Amadeo Queros, at least it was supposed to. Amadeo will be moved to the back of the grid courtesy of that penalty, but Ruben Iglesias will start in 30th, and then Alex Garcia will be 31st on this field. As we get ready to go, Kyle, cars lining up double file down the Ullman Straight. What can we expect here on this opening lap?
Chaos. I'm so excited for this. This racetrack is going to be such a blast. The bumps, the roughness of this racetrack, it's going to be a blast to watch. Racked up, stacked up, over 15 rows deep. But the old racing adage, to finish first, you must first finish. Turn 1 is about 8 lanes wide. The exit, about 3 lanes wide. So you have to filter out here on this start. The GR86 safety car heads for home, DJ. We're about to go racing at Sebring.
Cars working their way out of Sunset Bend right now, getting their way into the VP acceleration zone as all eyes turn to Tom Hansing in the flag stand, and there goes the green. We are racing here in Sebring. Looks like a decent getaway there for Tyler Gonzalez. Jordan Rick-Segrini going to try to make a little bit of a run, but there is that fan out that you talked about, Kyle. 3, 4, almost 5 wide, coming down into the corner and sweeping around the outside. I believe that was
trouble behind
high.
a big slide. A couple cars turned around. The 7, huge jump for one of the cars as they make their way through turn 1 in trouble immediately. Is that Michael Garcia in the 7? Yes, one of them is the Zotz Racing GR86. There was a big hop and a skip through the first corner. Still more contact. One of the Endava machines through turn number 3, DJ. Frantic start.
And the car that you saw make contact with him there, that was the number 67 of Joey Da Silva, the Smooch Racing machine. But we're not done with the action here at this point, because cars almost leaning on each other here, coming through Big Bend as they are trying to go, as they continue to try to push their way on through. And Corey Heim was indeed that car making his way around the outside. Here comes Gresham Wagner making the move on the number 99 of Drake Kemper, and it looks like that is going to be Gresham holding on to P3.
Gonzalez trying to put some distance on the field behind him while they all sort out which drivers will end up in that front group. We've seen these cars split into packs at previous rounds where we had a lot of straightaway. Think VIR, think Circuit of the Americas, but not done yet is Drake Kemper. He's got Rick Segrini to his inside, who fell backwards a couple positions as the 46 of Weisenberg has a look up into Cunningham.
And look at all those positions that Lucas Weisenberg has gained. Absolutely remarkable. We take a look here at Garcia. That was one of those cars involved in the incident. Thankfully, the Zotz Racing machine able to move under their own power and get off to the side of the track, so hopefully no full course yellow. Oh, that's going to be a car very slippy in the background. Mia Lovell barely able to hold on to it, and we are hearing good news, Kyle. Track is clear in turn 1.
Yeah, there's a big chunk of bumper at the exit of turn 1, and you can't really see it all that well when you're heading through. It's a blind corner with that concrete wall to your left. There's a look at it. I can't tell if it's a bumper or if it's a support structure or something from underneath a bumper, but either way, you don't want to hit it at north of 100 miles an hour. There's a spin at exiting turn 16, and it's at Mia Lovell in the Endava car. There's another car off just up the road ahead of them. Maybe they tangled as they headed onto the back straight there.
We'll have to see if we can figure out exactly what happened there, but Mia not having the best start to this race here. Unfortunately, she was up into P9, and she has fallen down through the order at this point. Adam Eisman leading a big pack of cars. That's Stephen Clements coming up behind him there. Austin Dodge also holding in, as well as the number 23 machine of Tommy McCarthy. Ooh, slow car coming off into pit lane. Kyle, you spotted that one.
I think it was Aiden Yoder, perhaps, heading to pit lane in the Segra car. I think that's who I saw. We'll have to get an update on that. Looks like it was. Unfortunate for him, as we're still side by side. Lots of drama here in the opening 3.5 miles of this 45-minute race.
Yeah, and there is that piece of debris out on the track. Thankfully, that's not really on the racing line, so we should be clear and good at that point. As there you can see those sort of 2 packs that you talked about. Oh, Tony Breidinger almost making contact there with that, as she took a very narrow line coming out of turn 1.
That's one of those situations where you don't know what it is, so you don't want to hit it to find out that it's a lot heavier than it otherwise might be. So drivers will do their best to avoid it, even if it was just paper or something. But let's have a look at this replay. This is going down into Le Mans after Jean de Bienne. Mia Lovell, it's the orange Endava car. And just watch and see what happens here. If she gets turned around, yes, by the, is that the 58?
That's the 98 machine. That's that's Kanan O'Connell there. And unless I'm mistaken, Kyle, it actually looked like he straddled the curb and the car twitched a little bit. I wonder if he attempted to brake while that car was under load and just couldn't get it stopped in time.
Yeah, the curbing in that section's really high off the ground. It's high enough that you actually skid across it like a skateboard. And while Mia Lovell does that as a hobby, I don't think she wants to do it on the racetrack. Unfortunately, she got turned around by a driver that did just that, unfortunately.
Yeah, and Mia, one of those drivers that is new and up and coming. As we take a look at the 67, that is Joey Da Silva, one of those cars involved in that first incident, the one that you pointed out kind of popped up into the air. Looks like some pretty terminal damage there for the Smooch Racing machine. But we check back in on the battles here. We're going on the track, the number 55 machine. That is Spike Kolbecker. Not in exactly the best running here. He's fallen down through the order just a little bit from where he was on the opening of the first lap. Is everyone trying to sort themselves out here? Another one of the Endava machines. That's Will Robusto looking a little bit squirrely through Jean de Bienne.
Do you remember the 6 car getting put to the rear of the field before the green flag? He's up to 13th place. He's driven through half the field already. We're 2 laps in. That's an unbelievable drive for Will Rogers in that number 6 machine.
Well, we know Rogers has speed as he was able to come up and qualify in P2. The driver currently in P2 that we see on your screen under a lot of pressure here from Gresham Wagner as we see the whole field flicking their way through sunset. And there is Will Rogers, the number 6 machine, in a battle with that number 8 that we talked about of Will Robusto as he tries to make his way up forward. This on your screen, though, is the battle for P2. Hein leading Wagner, Rick Segrini, Kemper, Weisenberg all involved in it. And look at that in the back of it. We're still going side by side into turn 1.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a touch there to the back of the 8 of Will Robusto. The 71 of Paul Bocuse gave him a shot down the front stretch, then moved to the right to try to go the long way around. Wasn't able to do it. And maybe he'll have a look down here into turn 3, leaning on that Bosch ABS, but didn't have a position alongside him this time through. Robusto got a little behind in the steering, though, and Bocuse is right back on him.
Yeah, Paul Bocuse for Copeland Motorsports in that number 71 trying to take the look as Tyler Gonzalez just continuing to grow this gap on the rest of the field. 4 seconds at this point, but look at this. Everybody weaving, coming down through Big Bend. They're going to sort themselves out here finally. Drake Kemper maybe under a little bit of attack there from Lucas Weisenberg, but Weisenberg will stay in line. Justin Piscatell in 7th, also going to be a part of that battle.
You have to wonder how much of the drivers from 2nd on back are really playing this game. Gonzalez is almost gone, right? Is this going to be a battle for the best of the rest, or will they fight for the lead and try to run Gonzalez back down? There's so much time left, or so much can happen here, but you have to really get organized and push and really not race each other. You have to race Gonzalez, and he's a long way up the road.
Yeah, long way up the road. We are hearing that there is a drive-through penalty for car 88. That's Ruben Iglesias Jr. for improper start procedures, and he will have to go through pit lane. Gresham Wagner, though, not going to have to worry about that as he tries to close in on the back of Corey Heim. And I'll tell you what, Rick Segrini very, very happy to see this battle kind of take place in front of him as he's going to be able to keep going. Let's actually go back and take a look at the start here at this, because I think we want to take a look at this as we mentioned that there was that improper start procedure. 88 poking out a line there in the back, if you see that. And then let's take a look at this big incident.
There's so much going on. I had my eye on one of the cars that was actually trailing the spin here, but right there, the 7 was already, I think maybe the 7 got together with the car on the inside, and you see the 67 make that jump. There's so many cars in that shot, it's even hard to track all of what's going on, but I don't envy race control right now, figuring out where it started and if or who to penalize.
Well, the one penalty that we do know for the improper start procedure, Ruben Iglesias Jr., that was because he moved before crossing the start-finish line here. But look at this, Kyle. We've got side-by-side up for P2.
Gresham Wagner is not sitting around anymore behind Corey Heim. He's going to go the long way around at turn number 1. And Rick Segrini's not waiting either. He dives down the inside for turn 1. And Kemper with a big run. Where does he go on corner exit? He's going to look to the right. Almost drops a tire. Used every inch of the road and all of the curb. Rick Segrini now to the inside of Gresham Wagner.
He's not done with it yet. He's going to look down to the inside. Wagner has to give up the ghost. Doesn't want to, and that's popping a tire up and into the grass. That's Drake Kemper trying to hold off the fight as Lucas Weisenberg able to steal a position away from the number 99.
Weisenberg didn't really have the best practices or qualifying for this race. He was chasing it a little bit. So was Aiden Yoder. But come race time, the racecraft that these young kids have, they are putting it to the test right now. Justin Piscatell's back there. Austin Dodge and Spike Colbeck are all part of this group. If things get wild at the pointy end of this, it's going to get even more wild behind as Dodge looks up the inside of Piscatell.
That was a big move there from Austin Dodge, and Piscatell having none of it. You could tell that Austin Dodge kind of wanted him to give him some space, and Piscatell said, no, I'm not going to give that to you whatsoever. They're still going at it here. Piscatell with just barely a nose ahead coming down into Cunningham. Dodge on the binders, on the preferred line. Is he finally going to get this done? Yes, he is.
Yeah, nicely done. Austin Dodge moves up a position, and Spike Colbecker trying to pick up the scraps as Wagner a little bit wide at the moment. Kemper trying to size all this up to move back inside the top 5 as Weisenberg continues to just claw his way forward. Maybe outright raw lap pace isn't what Weisenberg needed. The racecraft and the ability to place your car to the inside of other cars at those passing zones, that's what Weisenberg has been doing so well this season.
Yeah, Lucas has been very, very impressive. We haven't seen a dominant performance out of him necessarily akin to Tyler Gonzalez, but that win that he was able to pick up earlier this season, very, very well deserved. He is a scrappy driver.
He stole it from Gresham Wagner. That's a hard guy to pass at VIR, absolutely. A little cloud of dust at the exit of Le Mans as everybody scatters like rats in an alleyway down the back straightaway here. Everyone looking for the light ahead. And Corey Heim took second place back away in the Mobil 1 branded car. And Wagner slipping backwards, and Kemper goes the long way around at turn number 17, Sunset Bend, as they bounce over the bumps. Wagner kind of getting outraced here at the moment.
Yeah, he's looking a little bit on the back foot. 99 Copeland Motorsports and Drake Kemper are able to send that around the outside. They're going to be leaning on each other here, coming across the start-finish stripe. Only about a foot or two in between the two of them. They're still going to be side by side as they make their way into turn one. Wagner comes around the outside, carries more momentum, shuts the door. Good move there by Gresham, but he's going to go off, four wheels off into the grass there. He is lucky he was able to hold on to that.
Never lifted. That's Gresham Wagner for you. 4 tires off at the exit of 1 at Sebring. Kept the foot in it. Did lose a spot to Drake Kemper as they bounce over the curbs on the run into turn 5. Austin Dodge closes the gap now in 7th place in that number 31, the orange car. The darker orange car behind him is Justin Piscatell. We've seen him be a factor in a handful of these races as well.
Yeah, Piscatell able to pick up a podium back at VIR, and so we certainly know he has the speed there for that McCumbee-McAleer racing team. His teammate Leverutsky a little farther back down in the field. As that battle between Kemper and Gresham Wagner just continues on here, and that was Gresham trying to go around the outside of hairpin. I don't think I've ever seen someone successfully make that move work.
Now, Rick Segrini was on the brakes so hard that he triggered the hazard light on the GR86, probably just bumped the stock down there. They retain all the factory electronics for the most part, with the addition of the Bosch systems to run the engine and the ABS and things of the sort. But all the buttons and things for the blinkers and all that, they still work. This is pulled off the production line at some point and sent to TRD to build them out into the Toyota GR Cup platform. And man, it is so fun to watch these cars slide around and be driven at their limit around a place as rough as Sebring International Raceway.
Oh, a little bit of a bobble there from Drake Kemper. That's going to open up the door here for Gresham Wagner. He's going to have to go around the long way. And look at that there, Kyle. Look at that gap between Tyler Gonzalez and Corey Heim. That's what nearly 7 seconds looks like, and that's only after 10 minutes.
Yeah, Tyler Gonzalez is trying to wrap up the championship here this weekend, and he's got a pretty good start on next season as well with this advantage at the moment, 6.9 seconds. But I think part of it is the distraction, right? Corey Heim's not in here racing for the championship. Neither is Rick Segrini. Neither is Weisenberg. They're still worried about positions, yes, but not the championship trophy. They're all racing each other for their individual battles that are closer. Gonzalez is lights out. To run him down would be huge for anybody in this field.
Yeah, very well would, and very excited to see what Tyler is going to take in the next stage of his career, as this is a driver that has some real talent behind the wheel of a car. As you can see, though, on your screen, Gresham Wagner was able to get that move around Drake Kemper, so that is a good move for Gresham. That promotes him back up into 5th place. Still down a spot from where he started. Gresham can try to milk out a little bit more of this, but it does look like the battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th may fire off here before all is said and done. Heim, Rick Segrini, and Weisenberg. And if that battle pops out of control here a little bit, watch out, Gresham Wagner's going to be right there.
Yeah, just at the back of the shot, the gray car is Will Rogers. He's up inside the top 10 again after starting at the tail of the field because he was late to grid. And with 31 minutes to go, a top 5 isn't even out of the question. Neither is a podium. That would be unbelievable. I don't think we've seen that before in the GR Cup Series. As Kemper goes defensive, Austin Dodge late on the brakes the long way around at the safety pin, turn 7.
Well, and it just goes to show you what has been talked about many, many times in this series with that kind of move there from Kemper holding off. If you lose momentum in these cars, you're going to find yourself down in the order. As here comes Dodge again. It's not done. Dodge is going to be to the inside here into the braking zone for Cunningham. Piscatell even thinking about having a little bit of a go, trying to put Kemper down 2 positions. That's Piscatell mounting the curb. Now the 55 there of Spike Kolbecker getting involved.
There's a pinch point. As you leave Cunningham, the track width narrows down significantly, and there's a big curb on driver's left, and somehow they navigated that nicely, but Tower turns very tight as well. Kolbecker tried to turn into the apex, and Rogers was there. No dice, can't turn in yet. The 6 car goes through.
Will Rogers clearly driving with the bit between his teeth here at this point, pushing ahead as much as possible, and that's Jackson Bell there in the number 2 Precision Racing LA team, almost looking like he's giving a push to Will Rogers up through the corner.
Well, the car's in the way. You just got to push it, and you see the daylight on the other side. Look at them all mounting the curbs there. There's just enough ride height on these cars that I think you can put the left side Continentals over that rumble strip. I just have to imagine when you turn back to the right, it'll hook that curbing and really be challenging to turn in. So there's definitely, I guess, a diminishing return on how wide you can go to set up for that back straightaway.
Yeah, there certainly is. There you see that's going to be a little bit of a heads-up move. Was that a little bit slow there for the 99 of Drake Kemper? I hope everything's okay with that car, as it looked like he just sort of slowed out of nowhere.
Yeah, was he the one that dropped the tire at the exit to kick all the dust up, perhaps, and maybe lost the run?
Yeah, you're right.
These cars are momentum cars, right? Carrying as much speed as possible through the corners, right? 230 horsepower thereabouts. You're really trying to maintain speed through and off of the corner. The earlier you get back to throttle, the better. If you have to lift for any reason or you drop a tire, it's going to hurt you down these very long straightaways here at Sebring.
And that could be exactly what just happened there to them, as there looks like Alex Garcia able to gain a position up into 16th at the moment. That's over Kanan O'Connell, and it looks like we've got a little bit more news. Kanan O'Connell there, the number 98, given a drive-through penalty for incident responsibility.
Yeah, I think that that goes all the way back to the issue with Mia Lovell at Le Mans. There's the notification for it, and he'll have to head down to pit lane, and it's a trundling one down here at pit road. And ooh, the 98 still scrambling for position and more trouble as they all get together. Is that Mia Lovell again? She just can't escape the wrath today, and through the grass goes the 23. Wild ride there.
Oh, God, trying to get it back onto the track there at that point is the number 23 machine of Tommy McCarthy. And now a little bit of side-by-side here, O'Connell and Pombo. And now Kanan, of course, is going to have that drive-through penalty, but it's not stopping Kanan from absolutely battling tooth and nail here for every position. They're side-by-side coming up through Fangio.
It is just absolutely wild today. We're using all the road plus a little grass. Why not? But the 23 of Tommy McCarthy Racing, a real young driver, and his own race team bought a trailer on the way to Circuit of the Americas because his trailer had a mechanical problem. They transitioned all the stuff to the other trailer and finished the drive down there. Real scrappy team, real scrappy driver. You see it there. Hey, there's something going on? Keep your foot in it and keep going.
Yeah, certainly. That's the kind of racing mentality that we love to see here from these drivers. Here is Mia Lovell in a battle with the number 69 machine of Adam Eisman. Eisman trying to make a little bit of a run. Garcia directly up ahead of them. This is the battle farther down in the field. Again, this is for about 16th position that we follow right now.
Yeah, I think as we've seen over the course of the season, different packs of cars kind of separate out, and they end up kind of gathering 2 to 8 cars somewhere in there. But if you're able to break free of that like Tyler Gonzalez has done, you don't have anybody in your mirror to have to defend from, nor anyone out your windshield you have to avoid, and that allows you to run really clean, nice laps. For second place, though, still so impressed with Jordan Rick-Segrini and Corey Heim, both putting on an excellent display for that podium spot.
Yeah, a little bit farther back there, as it looks like that is going to be the 55 of Kohlbecker, under some pretty hefty pressure there from Bocuse, I believe. Look at that as they try to hold that out. Bocuse down to the inside into turn 1.
Oh, that was a late move, and he got the car to the inside, but here comes the 2 of Jackson Bell. Where did he come from? 3 wide through turn 1. What a pass for Jackson Bell.
Move of the race, Jackson Bell. That was absolutely incredible, recognizing where there was an opportunity, and he went for it, and also to have the sense of mind to be able to make that move and then just barely miss that piece of debris. Brilliant stuff.
He read that road perfectly, saw that these two battling, knew they would be slow mid-corner, turns it in a little later, throttles up, and then right here, watch him miss this debris just by an inch or 2. That was unbelievable driving by Jackson Bell.
Absolutely incredible. And now Spike Kohlbecker is going to be all of the back of that number 2 Precision Racing LA machine. He is really going to be trying to hassle him here, but I think with that kind of run from Jackson, he's just going to keep going away.
Yeah, well, Jackson stole Spike's lunch money there, and Spike wants it back, so I don't think this battle's over just yet. And Paul Bocuse has had exceptional pace here this weekend, in particular for the Copeland Motorsports team. In general, they've had really good pace over the course of the season, but Paul in particular has been a factor in the top 10, and he's not done yet.
No, he is not done yet. These battles are just going to continue to keep on raging here at this point with 26 minutes left to go in the race. Dipping a little bit of tire off there. That was the 8th place machine of Drake Kemper and the number 99. It's where Robusto there on a little bit of an opposite line. Not sure necessarily why you do that, Kyle. I think going on a straightaway, you want to tuck up in the draft as much as you could.
Yeah, you think so. It's also kind of a moment when you can debrief down these long straightaways, take a look at your gauges and things of the sort. I don't know that it makes a huge difference which side of the road you're on, and the draft here is certainly effective. It's not an end-all be-all, though, so I wouldn't be too concerned about it. But for second place, again, Corey Heim staying to the right of the road. Rick Segrini is going to look left and try to go the long way around through Sunset Bend. We've documented how challenging the bumps are through this section. Very bumpy on the inside, a little bit less bumpy on the outside, but Rick Segrini crosses over and looks to the right.
I love that move going down through Sunset. That is absolute poetry in motion, pulling that off. Jordan Rick Segrini up into P2. Fantastic stuff from the number 18.
Yeah, really good read on the road again. And that's a corner that you have to turn in for and then hit the brakes and then you turn in again. So it's really a two-stage turn. And the first stage he went left, forced Corey Heim to drive in deeper and overshoot, and then tucked in tight right up against that concrete wall. Really well displayed racecraft there. But how about Austin Dodge putting on a great performance up inside the top 5 and hounding Gresham Wagner for 4th?
Doing a great job here. I think this will potentially be Austin's highest position that he has finished this year if he's able to hold this out for the next 25 minutes. He's always been a consistent top 10, top 15 driver, but if he's able to keep into the top 5, this will be a big, big boost for that RVA Graphics Motorsport Speed Syndicate machine. As we watch Corey Heim here trying to keep the fight onto the back of Jordan Rick Segrini. Segrini got a little bit sideways coming out of turn 7, but not quite enough for Heim to be able to pounce.
Yeah, 24 minutes to go. Still a long way to go, and Rick Segrini's got the position, but is he going to be able to keep it? We know how good Corey Heim is. Gresham Wagner's coming back into the mix. So is Austin Dodge, Piscatell. Will Rogers up to 7th place, continues his drive from the tail of the field. This 24 has really been a star power car here this year. We've had Jesse Love drive this car a couple of times, Corey Heim, all drivers that have some experience on the stock car side as well. Really neat to see them jump in here. DJ maybe practicing for the road courses or something of the sort, but judging by this, he's got the skills, absolutely.
Oh, he's certainly got the skills. He's got the game to be able to make this work, and it's fantastic to be able to see it here. But Corey Heim just trying to close in behind here, and if I'm Gresham Wagner, I'm going to be making note of that. I mean, that's that momentum that we talked about. He may have lost a little bit of it here, may have not gotten the run that he wants to, and maybe seeing a little bit of red, maybe trying to over-push the car a little bit. Barely close to doing it right there. I mean, there was maybe a millimeter between him and the dirt.
Yeah, these cars are really forgiving too, so you can get all over the curbs and the rumble strips. They're pretty compliant race cars. They're fairly soft in their setup, and that's something that suspension is supposed to do, DJ. It's supposed to suspend, and at a track like this, where a lot of times in some of the higher powered cars, you're so stiffly sprung that you're bouncing around a lot, and it's a rough ride for sure, but the compliance allows you to stick to the road, keep the Continentals glued to the concrete, and that combination of car and track has made this a lot of drivers' favorites from, or so I hear, from this weekend.
Well, looking back here to the battle for P16, this is Alex Garcia, Mia Lovell, and Mark Pombo, Adam Eisman there all the way through the field as they go down through Sunset. Lovell trying to take a little bit of a look. Looks like she didn't get the best run there, and that's going to open up the door, I think, for Pombo potentially, but Pombo may have carried that car a little bit too wide. Now he's got to watch out for Eisman, who may have the run.
I'm going to give Mia Lovell a lot of credit. She's gone through a lot in this race and is still running just outside the top 15. She's had cars go spin in front of her, behind her, crash into her, so she's done a really good job maintaining her position at the moment, and a new partnership with Endava mid-season jump on board there for her and that Smooge Racing team, so that's always exciting. And just behind them, the number 10 of Mark Pombo, and then of course that 69 that you mentioned of Eisman. It's been a pretty good fun scrap to watch just outside the top 15.
Yeah, it really has, and this isn't the first time that we've really seen Mia be in a position where she's got to be fighting up at the front, up in a battle such as this. I think back to VIR and the 5, 6, 7 lap battle she had with Stephen Clements. I mean, she is a very accomplished wheel-to-wheel racer, and having really started this series with absolutely no experience, it's been a revelation to see her really come into her own.
Yeah, really switched on, which is awesome to watch. Drake Kemper, though, has his rearview mirrors full of blue and orange. That's Jackson Bell, the Precision Racing LA driver, impressed us a couple laps ago with a very good read on the road and made a 3-wide pass at turn 1, and now sizes up that Twitch-sponsored Copeland Motorsports vehicle. Drake Kemper, notice the right-hand driver's mirror there, DJ, kind of knocked in on the number 99. He's had some side-by-side contact. That mirror isn't much use when it's turned into the cockpit like that.
No, it's certainly not. And we have seen a couple of times over the course of the season's drivers actually try to reach through that netting and poke the rear view mirror back into position. That is just how stock these cars are, that they have that foldable mirror like you would see on the street version of them.
I suppose you'd rather have them fold than break off, but either way, it's not doing much in the way of reflecting what's going on in the rear view of those cars. There's a look at the 28 of Justin Piscatell, riding in 6th place right now. Nice consistent day for him, and just behind Dodge and the rest of the top 5 that continue to run nose to tail for 1st through 5th. But Tyler Gonzalez has just lit the afterburners on that Copeland Motorsports 57.
The gap is now nearly 13 seconds. 13 seconds after 25 minutes. And let's be very clear here, it's not like he's backing off. His best lap was at 2:26.037. He just did a 2:26.240 as we've got some side-by-side. That's Kemper and Bell.
Yeah, Jackson Bell again through turn 1, getting up underneath the driver mid-corner and on exit, and he'll go through at turn 3. Kemper slides the front end. You can see the understeer there. He was offline and just didn't quite have the grip to rotate into turn number 3, so he had to give that spot up. And again, Jackson Bell focusing on getting that run on corner exit. That's what's allowed him to make some passes.
That's what allowed him to make some passes. And again, another one of these young drivers that's really starting to show a lot of maturity. As we take a look there, Paul Bocuse has something kind of dangling off driver's right on that car.
Yeah, it could be just a piece of rubber or maybe a piece of that debris at the exit of 1 that he's picked up, but you'll hope it's not a part of a splitter or something that's kind of jammed its way into the front bumper assembly. These cars don't rely a ton on aerodynamic downforce. I don't expect that to be a huge hindrance, but maybe a distraction at least, I'd imagine. But there's a look at your race leader, and there's cars in front of him, not behind him, and those cars in front of him are the last drivers on the lead lap.
Yeah, it's going to be 29th place, Aiden Yoder there at that point, and I believe that is Tyler Wettengel that you see behind there in that red and white machine. This is the battle still continuing on here for P2, as it does look like Jordan Bricksagrini has been able to grow that gap a little bit. Let's call that about 5-6 car lengths in between himself and Corey Heim. Gresham Wagner starting to threaten here. Could we see Gresham maybe steal a podium away?
Well, they give you points and they put the results in the computer on the final lap of the race in about 18 minutes. But right now is when you're setting up for that run to the end. So this is the chess match that begins now. And you have to kind of plan your moves in advance and hope somebody doesn't come in front of those moves before the end of the race.
Well, I think back to what I heard from Gresham in Road America in his battle with Tyler Gonzalez, that he was pipped on the first lap, on the first run, and then on the second one, he knew he had to kind of set things up a little bit differently, counted back those laps, said, okay, I know where he's going to try to make this pass. I've got to do it this way around. Gresham made it work.
He certainly did. It's been fun to watch the trio this season, which has really been Gresham Wagner, Tyler Gonzalez, and Spike Kohlbecker. But in this particular race, we haven't really seen them race each other much at all. Gresham's been kind of stuck in this 2nd through 8th battle. The 55 of Kohlbecker's been kind of on the tail end of the top 10, and Tyler Gonzalez has gone off the runway, and he's taken flight already. So as far as his race, he's got this, I don't want to say in the bag just yet. It's a race, but he could probably park it for a couple laps and still be out front.
Maybe at this point with the speed that we've seen him have, but I am a little bit interested here. Tyler Wettengel in that red and white machine that we see them coming up. How is lap traffic going to play into this? Wagner taking a big move to the inside there on Corey Heim. That didn't necessarily look like a full-on attack. I think that was a little bit of a head fake there to just see if he could get Corey to maybe look in his rearview mirrors, miss his braking zone.
It's a distraction, and not necessarily because they'll see you in the side view mirror. It's because you're in the rear view 1 minute, and then the car pulls out of line, and you look up again, and they're gone. And so all of a sudden, there's this one moment when you're not sure where they are. And that momentary distraction sometimes is enough to fool the driver ahead of you to outbrake themselves. So it's a distraction tactic. It's the same thing you'd see with flashing headlights or something of the sort. But I think, a driver like Corey Heim isn't going to fall for that quite so easily. And Gresham will have to try a different trick up his sleeve.
Well, but it's just one of those things that you could employ as a driver to see if they're able to bite on it. Now, looking at the lap times here between Gresham and Corey, Gresham's got about 1/10 of a second on him, so he clearly has a little bit more speed. And if we look at the overall overall best times there. Gresham's got about a 10.5 on Corey. So I think this is going to be the battle to watch here in the final 15 minutes or so. That if Gresham is able to get on by, and there, that answers my question. Tyler Wettengill doing the sportsman type thing there, just kind of getting out of the way of the leaders, making sure he's not going to be ahead.
Yeah, that was fairly gentlemanly there, so that's cool. But with 15 minutes to go, I think you're right. That battle for third is going to be the one with volatility in the final moments. As another look at Tyler Gonzalez in the number 57 Copeland Motorsports car. As far as locking up the championship, DJ, if he wins this race and wins tomorrow's race, he's going to have that locked up. And Spike Kohlbecker really needed to have a second, a third, a second, something in there to really have a shot even going into Indy. So not looking good for Spike or for Gresham Wagner, who are the other conversationalists in that championship battle. Gonzalez well on his way to wrapping it up.
Yeah, well on his way here at this point, as there is that battle with Jackson Bell, Drake Kemper, Paul Bocuse as they keep running. And I'm getting a better look at that. It actually looks like that damage is off of the right front bumper there, Kyle. It looks like there's just a little piece that has been torn up, and I wonder from Bocuse if that's a result of running a little too aggressively over the curves.
You know what it might be, actually, getting a better look at it. The bodywork on the right front looks okay. I think it's actually because the livery is the black mark that you see. It might be the inside of the fender liner.
Yep.
From jumping over the curbs and landing, there's actually just plastic clips that hold that in. And if you smash the tire against the fender liner, it could rip that out. And that's really just a visual thing. I don't think it'll be much of a hindrance. But up the inside of Drake Kemper, as I said, he'll just take that and make it look easy.
Yeah, it's certainly not a hindrance here at this point as he's able to send that move down to the inside. He's going to demote Drake Kemper back down into 10th position, and now he'll focus his eyes up on Jackson Bell. Now, this is all taking place about 3 seconds behind that sort of train that we see for P2. Bell really hasn't been able to close in all that much.
Yeah, the last couple of laps, Bell has run, let's see, a 227 flat. It was quicker than a couple of the cars ahead of him, Will Rogers in particular, but that's kind of where everyone is with the lap times. I will just tell you, though, that Tyler Gonzalez ran his best lap last time by a 225.877, and that's the best lap by a large margin.
Yeah, very much so. As I'm looking down at race control, they going from bad to worse here for the number 98 of Kanan O'Connell. They received a pit lane speed violation, got a drive-through penalty. Then they sped on that pit lane speed penalty, and so received a 60-second stop and hold penalty. So a very, very rough day for VGRT.
You got the penalty on the penalty after the penalty, because the first time it was serving a penalty for contact with Mia Lovell, and then that's when the pit lane speed penalty happened, and then he sped while serving the penalty, as you said. So that is just bad to worser for Kanan O'Connell. This will be a race to forget for the 98.
Yeah, they'll be able to rebound. One of the great things about this series is the fact that we do qualify again tomorrow morning, so we're going to have a completely reset field when we go racing for race number 2 here from Sebring. So that's going to completely change the complexion. As there we see, there he is down into pit lane. I saw Paul Bocuse fall down the order there. I was a little bit confused, but yeah, Kanan O'Connell down in pit lane, serving that 60-second stop and hold penalty.
And the front bumper there looking a little vertically smushed, I think, because of the contact he had with the 68. So they'll have some body work to do post-race as well, unfortunately. But you're right, that qualifying tomorrow morning, kind of a full day reset tomorrow, and I think he'll be looking forward to that as we get a look at the 24 of Corey Heim leading Gresham Wagner and Austin Dodge, and Corey going massively defensive as Gresham Wagner stays on the racing line. And playing defense can get exhausting, and here comes Gresham up the outside. We'll try to tuck underneath on exit. Austin Dodge, what a great drive, though, in that 31.
Yeah, really, really good, and I like where Dodge is positioned here at this point, because he is just sort of waiting for this battle up ahead of him to take place. He doesn't really need to push all that hard here at this point. He can just kind of sit back, relax, let this battle come to him, and let it see what happens.
Yeah, and this is going to be a pretty aggressive fight here in the final 11 and a half, 12 minutes, and we never got a reset. We could have had a full course yellow at the start for that incident. We didn't get that. So this race has gone green this entire time, and the final 12 minutes is left to shake up the Etch-a-Sketch and draw out who's going to win this thing at the end. Well, at least who finishes second at the moment.
Yeah, by the way, that gap up to 16.2 seconds here at this point between Tyler Gonzalez and Jordan.
And he's been dominant this season at a whole bunch of racetracks, but he's always had somebody there flanking him him and running with him to bring up a little bit of volatility in that battle. That hasn't happened today. And this is one of those moments, DJ, where you just draw the target on your own back if you're Tyler Gonzalez, because tomorrow everyone will know that Gonzalez, if he gets out by himself, he's gone. So everyone will start to cooperate against you, even though they might not be teammates with each other. And that's a term that Darrell Waltrip coined, co-opetition.
Yes, it certainly is. So we'll have to see if that comes into play here at this point. Rick Segrini starting to gap himself a little bit from this battle. Oh, that was a little bit of a, I think, a wrong move there for the 24 of Corey Heim. Looks like he just missed his braking zone. Now we've got contact coming onto the main straightaway.
Oh, man, bumpers rubbing side by side, wheel to wheel. Wagner snuck up the inside and then chased him out to the wall on corner exit, and a big push from Austin Dodge to Corey Heim to re-clear him on Gresham Wagner. How frustrating is that? You're on the attack, and now you're the one that's getting hunted.
Well, Austin Dodge made the right position because there he's been able to pimp P4 away from Gresham. Now Gresham's going to fight back down to the inside of Austin Dodge. Justin Piscatell watching this all eagerly in the background as here he goes. Wagner down to the inside of 3 and 4, trying to see if he's able to hold it. A little bit offline there for Dodge. Piscatell looking interested, and Wagner back on the attack right behind Corey Heim.
And dropping tires at the exit of 5. It's amazing. If you just looked at the timesheet lap after lap, it wouldn't look like much is happening. But they trade positions 3, 4, 5 times a lap in some cases. But Wagner is fiercely on offense here, trying to get past Corey Heim. And he knows Austin Dodge is not on his side now after pushing the 24 down the front stretch. And Piscatell has joined this party. It's once again a 4-horse race for 3rd place.
Yeah, Wagner thought about a little bit of a move down to the inside of Corey Heim going into the hairpin, but it just didn't look like that was necessarily going to play out for him, so he decided to back off. Unfortunately, that has put him up into a little bit of a position to be challenged here by Austin Dodge. Dodge thought about a look going down into Cunningham, but not able to go for it here at the moment. Now it's just out to Corey Heim. He's got to drive well and make sure he keeps everything together. Just not be distracted by what Gresham tries to do behind him.
Yeah, it looked like he was on the back foot there leaving Cunningham, and on the way down to Tower was a little behind in the steering, and you saw him wide and then turn in real late to set up for Tower. But he did get a decent run out of that corner, so we'll see if he can hang on. It's going to get pretty exciting, though, for these last couple of spots in the final 8.5 minutes.
Yeah, it's going to get very, very exciting, very spicy indeed here. I have a sneaking suspicion as here they go, working their way through Le Mans right now. This battle for the final podium spot, once again consisting of Corey Heim, Gresham Wagner, Austin Dodge, and Justin Piscatell.
Yeah, Mark Pombo, by the way, has been instructed to fall in behind the number 69 car of Adam Eisman because he shortcut turned 15 a couple of laps ago. The race control took a look at that and asked that the 10 jump back behind because he had gained that spot due to the cut. So just a position swap. I think you'd rather take that than perhaps a pit lane penalty. Up the inside, though, Piscatell on Dodge through turn 17.
Yeah, Dodge just let that door open, and Justin Piscatell said, yeah, I want to try to go for that here at this point, but it didn't quite play out as Austin Dodge was able to carry a little bit more speed around the outside. Now that's going to be Piscatell slotting back into line here as they go into turn 1. That back and forth did lead to a little bit of a gap now being developed between Austin Dodge and Gresham Wagner. It's going to give Gresham just a little bit more of an opportunity to push ahead.
Yeah, keep an eye on Will Rogers, who's behind this fight a couple of seconds, but was faster than all of those drivers last time by. Remember, he started at the tail of the field with that penalty. He's in 7th and could grab a top 5 if he could catch this group and outdrive them in the final few minutes of this race. There's those 4 cars in shot, and then the gray car in the background is Will Rogers and the Godwin Motorsports team car.
Yes, here they go now down into the heavy braking zone of turn 7. Let's see if Gresham's able to get the launch out of the corner, or maybe it's going to be Justin Piscatell that's able to do it there. Only about a car length and a half, 2 car lengths in between Dodge and Piscatell. They look to be about equidistant as they come around the corner. Interesting there, coming through that Fangio curve, it always seems like that we see Corey Heim take just a little bit of a wider line, try to carry momentum a little bit more.
Yeah, it's one of those turns that it's not really scrubbing speed to take a different line. It's a speed versus distance calculation, right? If you go the longer way around, you might be able to carry just a touch more speed. You're flat to the throttle either way, but maybe keeping it to the inside scrubs a mile an hour or 2. That might not seem like much, but add that up over 17 corners, and that could add up to a lot of time. So that's something that Corey Heim might be doing on purpose, might be doing subconsciously, but either way, it's not objectively hurting him, at least at the moment, from what I can tell.
No, it's certainly not. It's just sort of one of those strange observations that you make when you're watching a race sometimes. This battle for P3 continuing to rage on here as they run out of Le Mans. 6 minutes left on the clock here as these drivers continue to work their way around. Tyler Gonzalez stretching that advantage up to 18.8 seconds. Gotta think he may even crack 20 before this race is done.
Well, he just ran his best lap again, a 2:25.775. Piscatell up the inside of Dodge late into turn 17. He snuck up there without knocking, and through comes the door of the 28 car. Whoa, look out through 17, still side by side, but now on driver's right, the improper line into turn 1. He'll want driver's left, perhaps, for the exit, and he's not going to get it this time.
No, he's not going to be able to get it here, but that's still going to be Dodge now slotting into line ahead of him. That's a little bit close of a move there. Piscatell probably knows it, but was probably expecting it there as they work down into the corner. Now he's going to look to the inside as they come into 3 and 4.
Yeah, these two guys have raced each other very cleanly, very respectfully, but 5 minutes left. You're going to take the gloves off and go for it here just a touch. The two ahead of them, though, are battling for a podium spot. DJ, how hard do you defend this if you're Austin Dodge? You have the opportunity to grab a podium, but you've got Piscatell behind you. So what do you focus on, the windshield or the rear view?
I think you flip a coin. I think that's about the only way to be able to do it. No, I think at this point you're always looking ahead. You have to be looking ahead as a racing driver, and you've got to be able to focus on in here at this point. Look ahead and ignore what's going on behind you. And look how close it's playing out here. Coming out of turn 7 is now Heim has a little bit of a breakaway, call it about 2.5 car lengths in between himself and Gresham Wagner. If you're Austin Dodge, maybe take a little bit of a look here coming into Cunningham.
Yeah, and just ahead of this group, we still see Jordan Rick-Segrini so impressed with him behind the wheel. Not only was able to qualify well, but was able to race well, clean, respectfully, and move up into second place and put distance on some of the best drivers here in the series. For a new driver to the series in that BSI racing camp, it's just been an exceptional second round of racing for Jordan Rick-Segrini. Field works their way out of Tower Turn now with the final 4 minutes to go. And Will Rogers still hoping that those 4 drivers ahead will get back to scrapping and end up in his lap here in the final couple minutes.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't really been able to talk nearly as much about Will Rogers' climb as I think we should. It has been absolutely remarkable, starting at the back of the field up into P7 here at this point. 2.1 seconds back, as you said, probably not going to be pulling into touch here with this battle for 4 up ahead of him, but it shows you the speed that the Godwin Motorsports driver has, and I think we've got to watch out for him tomorrow.
Absolutely. Look at Corey Heim, defense now on Gresham Wagner. Wagner looks left here into Sunset Bend, turn 17. The longer, wider arc around the outside there, door to door. Wow, look at Heim re-clear Wagner mid-turn, slides across the nose and maintains 3rd place for now.
Yeah, Gresham tried to be able to do a little bit of an over-under, and now as they cross over the line with, I believe, 2 laps to go, it's going to be very, very close here. Do we see the number 5 poke out to the inside? Yes, we do. Here comes Wagner. He's got the overshoot, but they're carrying more speed around the outside. Is going to be Corey Heim. Heim around the outside. Gresham sideways, and Heim somehow carries the speed.
That was so tight between them. You couldn't slip a piece of paper. Wagner later on the brakes into turn 3. Still side by side. Now they touch. They bang doors. The 24 jumps over the curbs. Wagner through to 3rd place. They touch more. The 24 tries to cross him over DJ as they run into Big Bend.
They run into Big Bend, and they're going to be side by side as they come through the corner, but it's going to be Wagner on the preferred line as they come in. And welcome to the party, Austin Dodge. Here he comes.
And Justin Piscatell waiting to pick up the scraps of this 4th car fight here down into turn number 7. Corey Heim on defense. Gresham Wagner ready to light the fuse in this explosive battle for 3rd place.
Oh, big slide there for Piscatell. That may have cost him an opportunity to be able to get a run here, but now it looks like Heim's been able to hold off into the lead, and it's going to be Dodge that has to slot in behind Gresham Wagner. So after all of that, Kyle, we're in the exact same order that we went into the corner.
Like I said, you shake the Etch-a-Sketch, and every single time it's the same picture that they're drawing lap after lap with just 2 minutes to go here. We're not done yet. They're just sizing everything up, recharging their attack batteries for the final couple of laps.
Yeah, this is where this is going to get really, really fun as they go, working their way on through. Tyler Gonzalez coming out of the corner here, coming out of Le Mans for the final time, but this is the battle where we have to keep our eyes focused.
Yeah, Tyler Gonzalez has a 22-second advantage earned over the course of the last 44 minutes or so, but Jordan Rick-Segrini has put himself in second place, well ahead of this volatile battle for third place. This is for a trophy. This is for prize money. Corey Heim has it. Gresham Wagner, Dodge, Piscatell, and Rogers all want it, and they're going to have 3.7 miles left to do it.
White flag in the air for Tyler Gonzalez. We wondered if he was going to get that gap over 20 seconds. Well, it's 22.5 seconds at the last time of asking, so that's a yes. But here comes the battle, and welcome to the party. Will Rogers, he's in it as Piscatell sends a move down into the inside of Austin Dodge, going through Sunset. Here they go. Does Piscatell finally have the crossover, or can Dodge carry more speed around the outside? It looks like Piscatell's got it for the moment, but they're still going to have some overlap.
He really needed to clear Austin Dodge there, and he wasn't able to do it. So Dodge will draw up the inside again and re-clear the 28 into turn one. Not quite. Piscatell hangs on the outside through the first corner, still door-to-door.
Still door-to-door here at this point. Absolutely fantastic battling here. And now Will Rogers officially into the conversation. Dodge holds the inside line, going through 3 and 4 as they're jumping over the curve is Will Rogers.
Wow, Rogers is on a mission to grab as many places as he can in these last lap dashes. He's wide at 5. Dodge crosses over, but he's going to get the spot back. Rogers, too much tire off track there at the exit of turn 5.
Rogers is going to have to gather this back up again, and Gresham Wagner can now take a breath of relief because he has got a little bit of breathing room. But look at this, Jackson Bell, and that's going to be Paul Bocuse going down to the inside of the Californian.
Wow, that was really tight. I didn't think he'd be able to get it stopped, but he did, leaning on the ABS in that Toyota GR86 and got the pass done. DJ, half a lap to go. Tyler Gonzalez well out front. Rick Segrini's got a bit of a gap, still for third place rather. Corey Heim's not safe yet.
No, he is not, and that battle that we saw erupt is the last thing that Corey wanted to see happen, because Gresham now doesn't have to look in his rearview mirror. He can purely focus on just what is up ahead of him, and that is attacking Corey Heim. But as they make their way through Collier right now, the battle for P5 continues to be fierce. Dodge, Piscatell, and Rogers.
Last couple of corners for the race leaders now as they make their way through Bishop Bend and Jean de Bienne and head for Le Mans. That last pass opportunity comes at the final corner. That double apex right-hander known as Sunset Bend, side by side with Dodge and Piscatell, trying to go the long way around at Jean de Bienne.
We've seen that a couple of times over the course of this weekend. We speculated that that may be a move. Dodge really trying to chuck that car in, but that is of no mind to this man, Tyler Gonzalez, who by 23 seconds will take victory here at Sebring.
Second place, Rick Segrini's got it all but locked up. For third place, though, Corey Heim on defense. Wagner going to try to go the long way around at the final corner, going to cross him under, sneaks up the inside at turn 17. Side by side for third place for the podium. And GR Cup, they touch. Side by side, DJ.
Contact as they come out of the corner, and a big wiggle there for Corey Heim. Is that going to be the deciding factor here for the final step on the podium? Yes, it is. Gresham Wagner able to take it away there at this point. Justin Piscatell in P5 as he is going to be able to steal that away from Corey Heim.
Kemper and Kohlbecker side by side to the line. Kemper by a nose. That's 11th place by 13 thousandths of a second. What a drive for those two. They've done battle before. Think back to Circuit of the Americas in the final corner. That was a drag race to the line. That was crazy fun to watch. But man, Tyler Gonzalez got it done by a mile, didn't he?
Yeah, certainly did. Alex Garcia able to take on to a top 15 there, doing a little bit of weaving. I think that's a celebration for them. Pombo able to come home in P16. Let's also give a big round of applause there. I want to bring specific attention to Mia Lovell in 15th after that very scruffy opening lap that we saw. She was able to come back and once again claim highest finishing female. Congratulations, Mia Lovell.
Yeah, she was dodging darts all day long and had a couple lobbed at her mid-race as well and rebounded very nicely. Tyler Gonzalez did an excellent job in this race. Jordan Rick Segrini in second place. Gresham Wagner again in third. Corey Heim in fourth. Justin Piscatell in fifth place. But over the 45 minutes of that race, we just had some excellent battles, some fenders being leaned on and things of the sort. It was a blast to watch. But Gonzalez, well on his way to picking up the championship trophy a round early. We still have a round to make up when we go to Indianapolis to make up for a round we lost at Nashville due to a washout. So we have 3 rounds at that Indianapolis race weekend and 1 more here tomorrow afternoon for Toyota GR Cup North America. Well, as we complete our first race of the weekend here at Sebring International Raceway, it did not disappoint. I think Jordan Rick-Segrini, the standout performance for me in this one, as we watch the rest of the field come back around and complete things. Paul Bocuse battling as well for a top 10 in the Copeland Motorsports car. And Copeland Motorsports in general, how about 1st, 9th, and 11th for the Copeland Motorsports crew? Really impressive stuff for that team, navigating the first wild race of the weekend here for Toyota GR Cup North America. Let's have a look at the results here in just a moment for Toyota GR Cup North America race number 1. Tyler Gonzalez grabs another one in the number 57. Gets it done by 24.9 seconds over Jordan Rick-Segrini, Gresham Wagner, Corey Heim, and Justin Piscatel, the rest of the top 5. Looking down the rest of the order, Austin Dodge in 6th, Will Rogers in 7th, then Jackson Bell, Paul Bocuse, and Will Robusto, the rest of the top 10. And of course, Jackson Bell in particular, that big move at turn 1, so much fun to watch. Then Kemper, Kohlbecker, Clemens, Garcia, and Lovell, the rest of your top 15. Mark Pombo, Adam Eisman, Derek Jones, Farron Davis, and Tony Breidinger wrap up the rest of your top 20. Tommy McCarthy, off-track excursion or not, comes home in 21st. Spencer Schmidt, Amadeo Quiroz, Ruben Iglesias, Tyler Wettengel, the rest of your top 25, with Kanan O'Connell, Lev Uretsky, Aiden Yoder, Lucas Weisenberg, and Joey De Silva wrapping up the rest of your running order. This race was a wild one right from the drop of the green flag. It was dramatic with an accident at the first corner and at turn 16. Kanan O'Connell in particular had a pretty poor race with a couple of penalties, but here is a look at the highlights from this Toyota GR Cup North America race. Tyler Gonzalez got out to his start and everything was in the rearview mirror, and thankfully, because of this accident at turn number 1, the 7 and the 44 getting together. Michael Garcia broadside on the track, the 67 of Joey De Silva going up for a wild ride airborne. Then Mia Lovell gets tagged by the 98 of Kanan O'Connell, who received a penalty that would just stack more on more. More debris here through turn number 1. Gresham Wagner runs wide alongside Drake Kemper as Austin Dodge watched from behind. It just got scrappy for second on back for the remainder of the race. Here's another look of Gresham Wagner diving up the inside of Corey Heim. This battle for third was just a light all day long. And we're going to see it again tomorrow as well. But just, there's another touch there with the 5 and 24 as they scrap for position. Paul Bocuse, late dive on Jackson Bell. He was able to steal 9th place away. Jackson would eventually go back by and take 8th position back, but it was Tyler Gonzalez by a huge margin here at Sebring International Raceway. Here's this last pass here for Gresham Wagner up the inside of Corey Heim, muscling his way by the Mobil 1 Toyota GR86. That was wild to watch as we come on through and complete race number 1 here in Toyota GR Cup North America. Here's a look at Tyler Gonzalez climbing from the race car, celebrating. Everything was in the rear view and so far back here at Sebring. 3.7-mile racetrack. I think he had basically all of it to himself. Big celebrations. He knows the championship is on the horizon. And let's head down to Amanda Busick with Tyler Gonzalez, our race winner here at Sebring. So Tyler Gonzalez celebrating down there, putting the hat on and getting ready to do the podium celebrations. Wrapping up a victory here at Sebring. What a great day for him. And we'll head down to Amanda Busick with Tyler Gonzalez.
Well, Tyler, you get the cuff from Continental. You're getting pretty familiar with how this works. The 6th time here this season, and it is pretty possible that you're going to wrap up this championship here tomorrow, a whole event earlier, but 23 seconds at the stripe against the 2nd place competitor. How?
You know, it's super hot here at Sebring. Copeland Motorsports gave me a great car. My Gear Wrench Toyota GR Cup car was absolutely on rails today. I couldn't have asked for a better car. It was super hot, greasy. You just had to keep your cool, and we did that to a T. So I'm just super happy we could get it done here at my home track.
On a cusp of a championship, what will you think before bed tonight?
You know, we definitely want to wrap it up here in Sebring. I'd love to get that done. it'd take a lot of weight off my shoulders, that's for sure. But just going to go to bed like normal and race tomorrow like every other race and just see what happens.
Tyler, as you grow with your skills here this season, people either tend to love or hate it here in Sebring. What fit your style today?
Yeah, I mean, it's my home track. I have tens of thousands of laps here. I came here with Copeland Motorsports earlier a couple weeks ago and tested, and it shows, the car's perfect. I couldn't ask for anything else. And, lap after lap, we just kept clicking away those fast laps, and that's all you can do.
We wish you well tomorrow.
Thank you.
Well, the battle on the bumps here at Sebring, race 1 of 2 for Toyota GR Cup North America is concluded. An excellent drive for Tyler Gonzalez. We'll tune in again tomorrow for race number 2 here from Toyota GR Cup North America at Sebring International Raceway. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you for the next one. Race 2 from Sebring.